All right. So let me know when you guys get in here. Let me know if you guys can hear me. And then we can start. We can start. Long as Facebook can hear me. I can't just go if Facebook can't hear me. That can't happen. So Facebook, can you guys hear me clearly? I don't want it to be choppy. Coming back, going to check Facebook. I need it to be, I need you guys to hear me. All right, so TikTok is good. Instagram is good. Now we're okay. I'm getting yeses. All right. So maybe we just needed to end it and come back. The devil is a lie. We're gonna continue to go on. All right. So y'all can hear me. So I'm gonna get started because I've been wasting too much of you guys' time already. I'm gonna start over with the introduction. So to formally introduce myself, and for those of you who are not familiar with me nor my platform, my name is Shonda Martin. I am a board certified credit specialist. I specialize in helping you repair or rebuild your own personal credit. I have been in the industry for years, and I have helped over 10,000 people repair their credits. I'm talking coming from 400s to 700s. I've helped over 500 people gain home ownership personally. So I literally specialize in helping you improve your credit profile. It's a passion of mine. And I do own a credit repair company. I do not accept clients right now. I am a certified credit educator, which is what I'm doing today, educating you on how to repair your credit exactly how a professional would. Literally exactly how I help my clients repair their credit, or other companies who I have trained to do the same thing. So that's what I'll be teaching you today, on how to repair your own credit. It's school at this point. Also, if you're on TikTok or Instagram, you may want to migrate over to the Facebook page, which is Road to 750 LLC, because I do have a presentation that goes along with this, and I'll be able to. You'll be able to see it. Let me just pin it to the top of the. That's the only thing that I forgot, to pin it to the top of the Facebook page, because we did end that last stream, and it's right here. Look at God. As soon as I logged in on Facebook, it's right here. All right. All right, guys. So we finna get started. Now this is the real thing. We getting started for real. Okay. All right. We good. All right. So how to repair your own credit. Most people overcomplicate this process, and my whole goal and job is to teach you how to do it in the most simple or simplest way possible, right? Yes, I am live on YouTube. Yes. Road to 750 LLC is the YouTube page. So I just want to literally simplify it as much as possible. And that's my goal for the end of today. I want everyone who's watching this to, by the time you end this live, I want you to know how to start. And I want you to be motivated to start on repairing your credit. Everyone deserves great credit. Everyone. Well, good credit should be, it's necessary. So everyone deserves it. So be ready to, get this information. And I'm about to start right now, actually. So how to repair your own credit. All right. So as an overview, this is an overview of this webinar that we're doing today. So step one, I need you to pull your official credit reports, and I'll break down each of these steps, but I just wanted to give you guys an overview. Pull your official credit reports. Step two, eliminate personal information. Step three, identify open positive accounts. Step four, identify derogatory accounts. And then step five, begin disputing with the credit bureaus. Now, that was just an overview of the course. I will go in great detail on what to do every step. So step one, I told you to pull your official reports. You get your official credit reports at annualcreditreport.com. Everyone is entitled to a free copy of their credit reports once a year. And actually, right now, you can get a free copy every single week up until April 2021. So you have about another month to take advantage of the free credit reports every week. You can request all three of your big three reports: TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Absolutely free. You just need to verify your identity, right? So before we begin, and before you begin your credit repair process, I have 5 rules that I need you to be absolutely clear and understand. Rule number 1 is do not dispute any accounts online. That rule is rule number 1 for a reason, because that is the most important rule of this whole entire process. If you have already disputed accounts online, there's nothing you can do about it at this point, except to continue going, and I'll get into how to dispute properly. But if you've already done it, don't let that stop you. It's okay. It's workable. I I don't want you to, but if you did it, the past is the past. At this point, all you can do is move forward. Rule number 2 is always dispute accounts via USPS mail. They only accept USPS mail. You can't FedEx or anything to them. Well, you can, but they're known to not accept those. So just send it USPS mail. You do not have to send anything certified except one particular letter, and I'll point that out when we get to that point. Always send a copy of your ID with each dispute. And when I say each dispute, I'm talking each envelope, like literally each envelope. Because the bureaus will be quick, like they look for a reason to not actually place your items into investigation. And if they see that you have not verified your identity, then all they're going to do is send you a letter telling you that they couldn't open your disputes because X, Y, and Z, and it's usually because of your identity. Now, along with the copy of your ID, if the address on your ID is not your current address and the return and like the address that you use for the return mail, then you need to send a copy of proof of residency with the address that you want them to send that letter back to, right? So if your ID is not current, just send another form of proof of residency, which is a bank statement, a check stub, a utility bill, anything, and they all have to be within the last 30 days. That's very important. That's very important, guys. So rule number 4 is always to be consistent and follow up during your credit repair process. I want you to know that most likely you're going to get a few auto verifications. Auto verifications means that the credit bureaus just verified an item without actually doing a full investigation. This happens a lot. You should expect it. If you go in already expecting this, then you won't be so you won't be so bewildered when you come back and they say an item was verified. Just because they say an item is verified does not mean it is actually verified. Does everyone understand that point? Right? And then the last rule is to be patient. Be patient. You will not be able to repair your credit in 30 days. It will not happen, not 30 days, not 60 days, and not 90 days. You have to be consistent amongst this journey, and you have to be patient. Patient and consistencies will take you a long way. Even when you hire a company, there is no magic company, myself or any other company out there. We can't rush anything. We fall into the same queue as you when you send your disputes. It's nothing different. You have to be patient. The bureaus in right now, you have to be patient more than ever because of COVID. The bureaus were reduced to a fraction of their staff, and in that they were granted more time. So right now they get 60 business days to reply to one investigation as opposed to the original of 30, right? So I'm about to get into the presentation. Again, if you are on Instagram or TikTok, you may want to go to the Facebook page. I'm sorry, the YouTube page, which is Road to 750 LLC, because my presentation is about to start about how to repair your credit. It will be saved to view later as well, whichever one you want. All right. So those are the rules. Okay. So the credit bureau addresses. So I'm gonna start off by giving you guys the addresses to the credit bureaus who you are supposed to mail, and I'll name them out loud if you are not viewing the screen. So Equifax address is PO Box 740256. Again, that is PO Box 740246, Atlanta, Georgia 30374. -0256. This is on YouTube, Road to 750 LLC. Again, I'm gonna repeat. Equifax address is PO Box 740256, Atlanta, Georgia 30374-0256. Experian's dispute address is PO Box 4500, PO Box 4500, Allen, Texas 75013. That is the address to Experian that you need to mail all of your disputes to. The address for TransUnion is PO Box 2000, PO Box 2000, Chester, Philadelphia 19016, or Pennsylvania. It's not Philadelphia. It's Pennsylvania. Chester, PA 19016. I'm cracking up because I really don't know which one. All right. So yeah, that's the thank you for writing the address in there. You guys are the GOAT. All right. So the first section that you are going to want to pay attention to when you pull your credit reports,
you're going to see at the top of every credit report, no matter which company that you pull, whether it's TransUnion, Equifax, or Experian, you're going to have something that's called the personal information section. In this personal information section, you will see all the names that has ever been reported on you, all of the addresses that has ever been associated with you or any accounts that you've opened, all of the phone numbers, all of the employers, and if you have co-applicants or a spouse. All of this information can be found in the personal information section of your credit report. It is very vital that you start your dispute process with disputing and minimizing this information. The reason being is because the information that's included in the personal information section of your credit profile is used to verify your debts. So to make you understand, whenever a collection agency sends a debt from you to the credit bureaus, before they place it on your report, they have to make sure that it has 3 matching points. Those matching points are either your first initial, your last name, or the zip code, right? So the information that's included in the personal information section is literally used to verify your debt. And then going further, it's used to verify your debt in the sense of if you dispute something, they're first going to see what information that account is reporting versus the information that's included in the personal information section of your credit profile, right? So it is your best bet to minimize this section drastically. I recommend you to have one address in this section, one full name, 2 names if you're like recently married and most of your account still has your maiden name, 1 phone number, and 1 employer. The only time I want you to report 2 employers is if you've recently switched jobs. When lenders actually still, they judge you off the personal information section of your credit profile as well, which is another reason why you want to clean it up. The reason being is because if you are a person and you have different names on your credit profile that's outside of your name, like my name is Shonda Martin. Let's say I have Rashonda Morton or something like that. They can look at that and say they can basically judge you and say this person has been filling out applications and they're trying to use a different name, right? Because this information comes from all of the applications that you ever fill out. They're going to turn in that information that you reported on the application. I'm talking from your employer, from your number, from the address that you use. They're reporting that to the credit bureaus. All of your current creditors that you pay monthly, they report the billing address that you use. They report your phone number. They report all of your identifying information that's on that account to the credit bureaus. And that's how your personal information section is made up, which is why you usually have so many names, so many addresses, so many phone numbers, so many employers, because they get this information directly from your creditors, right? So clean it up. And also, if you have multiple employers, like I've seen reports that has 10 to 20 employers on there. Lenders look at that and say, this person appears to be unstable. Nothing scares a lender more than them feeling like a consumer is not stable. When you have so many employers on your credit profile, it looks like you just switch jobs frequently, or if you have so many addresses, it looks like you move frequently, and all of that can be indicators of you not being a stable person in the eyes of the lender, which is why you should want to clean up this personal information section. It will also make your disputing process easier as well, right? So again, limit the personal information section down to 1 address, 1 full name, 2 if you've been recently married, 1 phone number, 1 employer, 2 if you recently switched careers or jobs, right? So I see a lot of questions asking, how do you challenge the personal information section of your credit profile, or how do I minimize this section, right? And if you are on YouTube or Facebook, you will see that I have a letter on the screen that you can use. If you're on TikTok or Instagram, you guys will not be able, you know what, I can switch it around. I'll have to do it one by one though. So here is an example of a personal information letter. And I'll show you guys in a second. Screenshot this. And this is the exact letter that you can use to clean up your personal information section of your credit profile. You send this letter and make sure you always include a copy of your ID and a copy of proof of residency, meaning a utility bill within the last 30 days, a bank statement, a check stub, car insurance, anything that has your address on it and your name, of course, and you send this to the 3 credit bureaus, the big 3. For those of you who were not in the live yesterday and I explained the acronyms and all of that, anytime I say big 3, I mean TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, right? So when I say big 3, it's the credit bureaus. You send this personal information letter to the credit bureaus. All right, so let me show you guys on Instagram. I wish you guys just go to YouTube though, because it'll be easier. It'll be easier, I promise. Let me here is the personal information letter. Give me one moment, TikTok. And yes, if you guys are on TikTok, you guys can go to my go to my Facebook. I'm sorry, shit. Go to my YouTube page and type in Road to 750 LLC, and you'll be able to see the screen that I'm talking about. Do you guys got it? If you have the DIY kit, you have these letters already. All right. I ain't gonna be able to keep doing that every time, though. I ain't gonna lie to you. All right. So I've explained the reason why you should clean up the personal information section of your credit profile. And I've also given you the letter that you can send. In addition to this letter, you are able to dispute personal information over the phone, right? Keep in mind, remember I said don't dispute personal information. Don't dispute any accounts online or over the phone. You can dispute personal information over the phone. So you can, I like to send this letter, and what won't be removed, what's not removed as a result of this letter, I like to double back and call the bureaus and say, hey, I sent the letter outlining my address and all of that. And can you please remove everything else? And another thing that I want to say about the personal information letter or section of your credit profile or the letter, a lot of times the bureaus are not going to remove everything with one letter, right? So it is not rare that you will have to consistently follow up with sending a personal information letter. In fact, you may have to send a personal information letter with every round. It's nothing wrong with that. I've done that plenty of times where I would send the personal information letter. They'll like delete one name or one address or something like that. And then as I'm following up or as I'm moving on to dispute the accounts, I will send the letter again. When you guys send the personal information letter, I personally recommend that you send it at least a week in advance of you disputing any accounts. The goal is to have your personal information section in dispute or possibly cleaned up. Not even because it's not going to be all the way cleaned up, but just some sort of dispute initiated before you place any accounts in dispute, right? So send this at least a week before you send the round 1 letter, and we'll get into all of that, the round 1 letter later. But just as a caveat, send the personal information letter first, right? You want those accounts or the personal information section to be in dispute. If you look on the letter, I've seen a good question. What information should you not include if it's a brother, sister, mother address? This is how I look at it, and this is how you should look at it as well. If an address, personal information, if an address, a name, a phone number, or an employer is not your current address, phone number, employer, then it should not be on your credit profile. Well, what if I stay with my sister? Well, what if I stay with my mom and it has my mom address on there? That is not your address, right? Like, so it doesn't have to be reported on your your personal information section. It doesn't have to be reported on your credit profile, right? So clean up everything other than your most current, your most recent address, name, employer, phone number, all of that. Clean it up, right? Who cares if that really was your old address? That doesn't matter. If it's not your current address, then you do not want it on your credit report, right? All right. So I've given you the letter for personal information. The next is step 2, identify all of the positive accounts that you have on your credit report, right? So at the very first slide, I told you guys to download your credit reports free from annualcreditreport.com. This presentation will be based on, of course, you having your credit report. Having Credit Karma or any online app is no substitution for having your actual report, because a lot of times, even if you have the MyFICO app, Experian app, which are the perfect apps, except you want to have your full credit report, because you're going to see that there's going to be a lot more information on your actual credit report in terms of especially the personal information section. Online, they never report all of the addresses that you have. Even if they report like 10 online, you probably got like 15 really in reality. So you want to make a habit of getting your full credit report, And the only way to get your full credit report is to go to annualcreditreport.com. annualcreditreport.com. It is free. You have to verify your identity, and you'll be able to download it right away if you can verify your identity, right? So step 2, like I said, after you identify what personal information that you want to delete, you need to identify if you have positive accounts, right? A positive reporting accounts are accounts that report monthly and are open. Is that clear? It is. You need positive reporting accounts. If you had positive accounts in the past, and maybe it was your car loan that you've paid off and it's now closed, you need positive reporting accounts. Reporting means active, open, right? Something that reports every 30 days to the credit bureaus, right? So I have a perfect profile that is conducive to rebuilding. You've probably seen this 1,000 times from me, because I'm always encouraging you guys to make sure that this profile mirrors your profile, mirrors this profile. It's tried and true. I'm talking thousands of people has mirrored this profile, and you will see an increase in your score or the health of your credit profile if you do this, right? So my perfect rebuilding profile that I recommend to everyone is at least 2 credit cards, right? At least 1 short-term installment, at least 1 long-term installment, and a reported credit utilization under 10%. So I'll break these down as well. If you were in the live yesterday, if you were in part 1, I broke down why having a credit card is so important. So I'm not going to get into that today. If you want to go back to part 1, you may do so on YouTube or in the Facebook group. But for the purposes of today and being part 2, you want to have at least 2 credit cards. One of those credit cards has to be a primary credit card in your name. So if you are AU'd on someone else's trade line, like you've purchased an authorized user spot on someone's trade line, or if you are on like your dad, your uncle's, or your mom's credit card, that doesn't count for both credit cards. You have to have one in your name primarily, right? There's no substitution for having a primary trade line in your name. None. You can have 10 AU accounts, but if you don't have one primary trade line in your name, then you are not properly building your credit profile, and you still will be denied for things. Despite how high your score appears, lenders want to see a positive reporting account in your name, a revolving account, I'm sorry, right? Now, I did say have at least 2 credit cards. One has to be a traditional one. Like I said, it just has to be one that's tied to a bank. So not when I say one is a traditional one, don't have 2 store cards. Like don't have 2 Old Navy cards or only one Victoria's Secret and an Old Navy card. You have to have at least one traditional card, right? The second one can definitely be any store card you choose. That's your preference. Or it can be an AG Jewelers account, or it can be a My Jewelers Club account. The second one is fine, as long as, like I said, you have at least one traditional credit card that is in your name, right? At least one short-term installment. What do I mean by short-term installment? An installment loan that is has a term length of under 24 months. So if you have a self-lender, if you have a kickoff, if you have a credit strong, if you have a pledge loan through your bank, all of those will count as a short-term installment. Any loan under 24 months, right? In addition to having that one short-term installment, you want to have at least one long-term installment. A long-term installment is a loan over 24 months. So if you have a car note, if you have student loans, those count as a long-term installment loan. And there are a plethora of other types of installments that you can have that would have a long-term over 24 months, including if you have a home improvement loan. Like any loan that you have that has a long-term over 24 months is considered a long-term loan, right? And then a reported credit utilization under 10%. And again, I went heavy into discussing the importance of credit cards yesterday, so I won't break that whole thing down. But I will say that if you are new to the credit world, you may have seen where people say, just keep your credit utilization under 30%. Well, that is not conducive to actually repairing or rebuilding your credit profile. That keeps your score stagnant. So you want to report a utilization under 10% every month. Every month. I tell people, if your scores are not above 700, then you don't have the wiggle room or the leeway to report a utilization over 10%. And I know that sounds a little harsh, but it's the absolute truth. And you will see when you practice the notion of having reporting a utilization under 10%, your scores will increase drastically, because utilization means so much to your credit profile. And again, I don't want to get into that because I did that yesterday. But yeah, so to run down the perfect credit profile one more time: at least 2 credit cards, at least 1 short-term installment, at least 1 long-term installment, in a reported credit utilization under 10%. That is it's 4 points. And it's really easy to mirror it. So try your best to get as close to that preferred profile as you can. If you have more than 2 credit cards, then you're doing fine. Again, I said at least 2. Because 1 credit card, you just going to be looked at as like an amateur. 1 credit card is really amateur in terms of like your credit profile and your credit experience. So you want to have at least 2. If you have more than 2, perfect. If you have more than 2 installment loans, perfect. I'm just saying my recommendation is at least. It's the minimum that you should have. At least 2 credit cards, at least 1 short-term installment, at least 1 long-term installment, and a reported utilization under 10%, right? So moving on, credit cards. Here is just a list of credit cards that you can get for people with, if your scores are under 500, you may want to try a Capital One secure card, an Open Sky, an Indigo card, a Credit Builder card, a Discover secure card. If your scores are over 520, you usually will qualify for a Capital One unsecured card, or even some of the lower end Discover cards. If your scores are 600 plus, of course you have more options to open. Barclays card, your local credit union cards, Capital One Quicksilver, gray cards for 700 plus. You pretty much can qualify for all of the traditional cards, but Citi cards, American Express, Chase, Capital One Venture, all of those, Barclays as well. Cushion accounts. So cushion accounts are very important in my opinion. I feel like everyone should have a cushion account. A cushion account, for those of you who are new to the credit world or new to my group, a cushion account is an account that is tied to a large credit limit that is there, that the main purpose of that account is so that it can report to your credit profile and keep your utilization low. Because when you are starting off to repair your credit or even rebuilding your credit, you usually will not have access to high limit credit cards. So the credit cards that you usually have access to are like 200 secure cards or 200 unsecured cards, or maybe like a $500 card. I've even seen people with like $1,000 limit card, right? The problem with that is, while that's great, it's really easy to run up that card. It's really easy to have a high utilization reporting with a credit card that has a low credit limit. Again, you guys know my rule is the 10%. So let's say if someone has a $200 secure card, 10% of that is only $20. So if they report a balance over $20, then really they're placing themselves at a disadvantage in terms of their credit profile and their credit score, right? So to basically help with that, or if you are a person who are struggling with high utilization right now and it's holding your score down, what you can do is get a cushion account, right? So these are 3 cushion accounts that are pretty much automatic approval. It's AG Jewelers, it's My Jewelers Club, and it's New Coast Direct. AG Jewelers will automatically approve you for a $10,000 limit. My Jewelers Club will automatically approve you for a $5,000 limit. New Coast Direct also will approve you for a $5,000 limit. But to give you guys a little more information about these accounts, because I don't want to get misconstrued, when I say 10,000 limit, 5,000 limit, 5,000 limit, it is only exclusively used for their online store, right? The purpose of these cards are to, again, cushion your account to lower your utilization. I'm not recommending these accounts so that you can just ball out and spend. You won't find anything that you like on their website anyway. You may find 1 or 2 things, but majority of the things on their site is trash and it's overpriced. But the point is to have it reporting to the credit bureaus. Who cares what they sell? After the first initial purchase, I haven't shopped at neither one of these cushion accounts, right? And it costs $150. So what has to happen is you have to make a purchase for $100, and or you have to make a purchase for $100 and pay their $49 starting fee, and then they will automatically approve you for the limits that I just said, right? And you can go to their website. It's AG Jewelers, My Jewelers Club, or New Coast Direct. AG Jewelers gives you 10,000, My Jewelers Club gives you 5,000, and New Coast Direct gives you 5,000. You can get all 3 if you want, and that's $20,000 in limits. Or you can just do one by one. It's all It's depending on you, whichever one you prefer. But I do think that everyone should have at least one, me personally, because again, it just keeps your utilization low. If you are struggling with high utilization and you're only able to make the minimum payment, try to get a cushion or get a cushion account so that you can lower your utilization and buy yourself more time to pay down your limits. Because paying the minimum payment, we all know that you're literally just going to be paying for years to get your utilization down. So instead of having your credit score affected by that, get a cushion account so that in the meantime, while you are paying back, you are basically well, you are lowering your utilization, which anytime you lower your utilization, you raise your credit score, right? So again, those are the credit cards. So moving along. Derogatory accounts. So the next thing that you're going to want to do is identify all of the derogatory accounts that is on your credit report. I get this question all the time. How do I determine or identify a derogatory account? It's really easy. Any account that says that it's included in any account that says that it is in collection is a derogatory account. Any account that says that it's charged off, that is a derogatory account. Accounts that include multiple late payments. So usually my rule of thumb is if it has a 90+ day late payment, then you may want to get that disputed and get it deleted off your credit profile. There are exceptions to the rule if it's an account that you've had years, like if it's like your oldest trade line or something, then that 3 late payments is not going to kill you. But if it's an account that it's not really a good account, you haven't had it for that long, and you have a plethora of late payments on it, then you need to be trying to challenge that account, right? Judgments. Obviously, a judgment is a derogatory account, or a bankruptcy, of course, that is considered a derogatory item on your credit profile. You need to dispute. My rule of thumb is to dispute all of the derogatory accounts, right? So I'll get into that in 1 second. But yeah, so that's how you identify derogatory accounts. All of the points that I just named, if it's a collection, if it's charged off, if it has multiple late payments, if it's a judgment, or if it's a bankruptcy, that means that it is a derogatory account and it is affecting your credit profile. And the only way to deal with a derogatory account is to get it removed off your credit profile. And we will discuss that in just a second. Yesterday, I went over how just paying a collection does not improve your score. So stop just running to pay a collection thinking that you are improving your credit profile. It's not how it works. It's not how it's calculated. When we are talking about a FICO score, because the thing is, if you have Credit Karma and you've ever paid a collection, they may make you believe that it is actually raising your credit score, and it's not. When we're talking about FICO 8, calculated into the scoring model, is you do not get any extra points for paying a collection. Whenever the second a collection touches your credit profile, it has done the damage that it's going to do, right? The only way to undo that damage is to get it deleted off your credit profile. Even if you pay down the full balance, you will not undo that damage, because the balance on your collection doesn't matter. Whether you have a $10,000 collection, whether you have a $200 collection, or a $0 collection, which is a collection that has been paid, it still will affect you the same if it's reporting on your credit profile. Lenders don't see the balance on your collection account. They only see how many collection accounts you have. So whether a collection has, again, a 2,000 balance or a $0 balance, it's still a collection, right? So I just needed to say that. Stop just paying these collections thinking that you're improving your credit. Do not pay anything unless the creditor has properly validated the account, right? So moving on. Debt validation. All right. So this is where we start the actual dispute process. Well, we started it already when we said that personal information, but this is where we start the dispute process in terms of collection accounts, right? So let me introduce you guys, if you're not familiar with the debt validation period. It's called the Dunning period. So if I say Dunning period or debt validation period, they mean the same thing. All right. So for those of you who do not know, when a debt collector calls you or they send you a letter in the mail, those annoying letters or those annoying calls that we get, I want you to know that the FDCPA, which is the I'm sorry, which I'm getting tongue tied. The FDCPA, the Fair Debt Collectors Practice Act. Sorry, I get them mixed up. Fair Debt Collectors Practice Act, right? It says that within 5 days of initial contact, meaning that if a debt collector calls you, they have 5 days to send you a debt validation letter, a validation of debt letter. And what that is and what that looks like, I'm sure we've all seen them before. It is the letter that they send the mail that says, we have ownership of this account. The original creditor is this. The amount you owe is this. How do you want to pay it? Sometimes they'll give you payment arrangements. Sometimes they'll give you a settlement. That doesn't matter. The point is that is a validation of debt letter, and they have to send you that within 5 days of first contact, right? So what you don't realize is the second that that item is delivered to your address, the second the timer starts ticking, you have 30 days. The third that this 30-day period is called the dunning period, right? This is before an item has ever reached the credit bureaus. This is literally when they first contact you, right? Most people don't realize that you are in your dunning period as soon as they send you that letter. And the best thing to do is to not ignore the letter. The best thing to do is to respond with a debt validation letter, right? If you respond with the debt validation letter, the FDCPA states that the credit bureau, the collection agency cannot send that item to the credit bureaus until they have properly validated this debt. The reason why this is so important, because 30 to 40% of debt collectors will not be able to validate the debt, right? If you don't know anything about how debt is purchased, they literally purchase thousands of debt at the same time on a spreadsheet. Like they don't care about anything other than the account having a balance on it, them having your name, and a way to contact you, whether that's your phone number or your address, right? So they don't have any contracts or anything, right? Most of the time. So when you ask them to validate a debt, if they cannot properly validate the debt, then they cannot legally collect on the debt, right? So when you send this debt validation letter, you are literally freezing time, or not freezing time, but you are forcing them to validate the debt before they can send it to the bureaus. Because if you do not respond in this period, then they're going to just send it to the credit bureaus, and then you're going to have another collection on your credit profile. When you respond during this dunning period, you one, buy yourself more time, but two, you force them to validate it, because they can't ignore your debt validation letter and then go ahead and send it to the credit bureaus either. That is against the FDCPA. You can literally file a complaint on them, and you can sue them for that as well. That is a direct violation of the FDCPA, right? So again, to be clear, I'm talking about before an item reaches the credit bureaus. Soon as they send you that annoying letter, or soon as they begin calling you, you need to first tell, because if do not talk to debt collectors over the phone, right? They are trained to get you to validate your own debt. If they can get you to agree to a payment agreement, that you're validating your debt. If they, you know how sometimes they'll say, can you just pay $1 today, and then we'll see what you can pay on Friday when you get paid. Can you pay $5 today, and we'll see what you can pay next month? What you don't realize is the second that they get you to pay even a penny on this account, you have validated your own debt. Anytime you pay off a collection, you have validated. In the eyes of the law, it states that a payment equals validation. So if you challenge a paid collection, or try to challenge it after the fact, they do not have to respond to you, nor do they have to validate the debt, because when you paid it, you have agreed that everything on this account is validated. It's correct. The balance, the way that it's reporting, everything, right? So again, always request, if they call you, say, please only communicate with me via written mail, or via mail. Just let them know that you do not wish to verbally communicate with them. You wish for them to send you anything that they need to send you, any communication, in the mail. You have 100% rights to request that, and make sure you do. Do not go back and forth trying to talk to them over the phone. They are literally trained to get you to validate your debt when you don't even realize it. It gets so crazy, because I don't they still do this, I'm sure, but I know it was really popular at one point. Like, for let's say you went to a hospital, they will call you and they will say, hey, we just was calling to see how the service was at this hospital. Like, basically acting like they were doing a survey, right? And then a consumer will say, yeah, it was fine, I received good services, etc. What you don't realize is you just validated your own debt. You just told them that, yes, that this is you were at the hospital, etc., etc., right? So do not talk to them over the phone. Always say, please communicate with me via written communication only. That, like, do not talk, don't go back and forth with them over the phone or nothing. But again, respond with a debt validation letter. When you send anything, keep listen. If you don't take away nothing, I need you to take away this. When you send anything directly to the collection agencies, not the credit bureaus, when you send anything directly to the collection agencies, never, never sign your name. I never sign my name on anything, by the way, even with the credit bureaus. Never sign your name. Don't do your signature. You can type your name, or you can print your name, preferably type. Never sign your name. And then another thing is, when you are communicating with the collection agencies, do not send your ID. I want to make that very clear. Do not send your ID. Because guess what? Now you've given them more information on you. The burden of proof is on them. The burden of proof is on them. If they just like when they call you and say, hey, can you verify your address? Can you verify your social? Can you verify your name and stuff like that? Do not verify anything. That is their job. They can't legally collect on this debt if they don't have this information. So when they ask you that, you answer, you are doing their job for them. You are doing their job for them. Something as little as verifying your address, because they may have not had your correct address. That's the thing, which is why they call you first, to be honest. They call you first because usually they're not sure if the address is correct. So they want to make sure the address is correct, because how are they going to send a debt validation letter if the address is not correct, right? And they have to send that by law. So again, when they start questioning you about your identity, when they start questioning you about your identity or anything, make sure that you are not answering them. And if they ask you your address, send it to the address on file. That's what I say. We will send you a letter. We just want to verify your address. Send it to the address you have on file. Because how are you collecting on this debt if you don't have my correct address? Right? Again, the burden of proof is on them. Stop doing their jobs for them, right? So many people say, well, what is a debt validation letter? You can write one yourself, or I have an example of one. If you're viewing this by the presentation, here is a debt validation letter. If you have my DIY credit repair kit, it's included in there. But if you do not have the kit, here is a debt validation letter. A debt validation letter, I'm just going to read it for those of you who can't view the screen. It says, Dear debt collector, I'm responding to your contact about a debt you are trying to collect. You contacted me by phone or mail and identified this alleged debt. Please supply the information below so that I have all of the information. And the information that you're requesting from them is the name and address of the creditor whom the debt is currently owed. So they have to identify the original creditor for the debt to be validated. If this debt started with a different creditor, provide the name and the address of the original creditor, the account number used by that creditor, and the amount owed to that creditor at the time it was transferred. I want to stop right there. You notice that I requested that they identify the original account number from the original creditor. The reason being is because most of y'all don't realize the account numbers that a collection agency gives you, sometimes they have to assign those account numbers by themselves because they don't have the original account number, right? So if they cannot review or reveal the original account number, then the debt is not validated. It's not, right? So you have to request, give me the original account number, not the account number that you guys made up in your system, right? How many times have you called a debt collector, or they called you and the account number that they gave you is different from what's on your credit profile or your credit report or with the original creditor? That's because they don't usually have that information, right? So again, you request that and then provide verification and documentation that there is a valid basis for claiming that I must pay debt to the current creditor. For example, can you provide a copy of the written agreement that created my original requirement to pay? A contract. Send me the contract bearing my signature, whether that's a digital signature or an actual signature, because digital signatures do count, by the way. And then the last thing is, if you are asking that I pay a debt that somebody else is or was required to pay, identify that person. So that one is real player. Think about that. I said, if you are asking that I pay a debt that somebody else is or was required to pay, identify that person. You notice I didn't say if you are requiring me to pay this debt, because what I'm not going to do is validate my own debt. If you are claiming that this debt is owed, identify that person. Whether that person is me or Sally Mae down the street, identify that person, right? I'm not going to tell you that it's my debt. So you need to identify this person. Whoever you are claiming owes this debt, you're identifying this person. And keep in mind, I also didn't say that this is not my debt, because you guys know that you never should dispute the ownership of the account if it's your account. That's just a really amateur way of disputing your debts, and it's not going to get you far. It's really easy for the credit bureaus or creditors to prove that an account belongs to you nowadays. So don't dispute the ownership of the account, right? So never say this account is not mine. I have no knowledge of this account. No. Identify the person that you are requiring to pay this account, right? That's the simplest way to say it. The amount and age of the debt, including a copy of the last billing statement sent to me by the original creditor. I want to stop there. If you've ever disputed an account, you probably have received the bill in the mail. And a lot of people will take that as validation and stop disputing. What you realize is that's one point to the dispute, but they also still have to provide this other information. So if they just send you a bill, that is not validation, but they will send you the bill because they want it to deter you. They want you to think that it's actually proper validation, and it's not. You can continue to fight if they only send you a bill. And I'll show you guys the letter on TikTok. Let me show you. Here's the debt validation letter. If you have my DIY kit on my site, you definitely have this debt validation letter. Or if you're on TikTok and you want or on anywhere and you want my DIY kit, is $19.99, and it's on my website, which is roadto750.net. But I'm gonna give you guys 10 more seconds to screenshot this, and then we'll move on. And if you're on YouTube, you can just screenshot. By the way, if you guys are on TikTok or Instagram, if you go to YouTube, you'll be able to see the presentation in which I'm talking about and not just hear me. But if you find staying there if you want to. All right, TikTok. Yeah, I got it. So that is a debt validation letter. Everyone should keep a debt validation letter in your records or whatever, because you never know when you will get a validation of debt letter from a collection agency. You never know. How to switch this. All right, here it is, Instagram. 1 second, y'all. Do not send ID with the debt validation letter. Do not send ID with a debt validation letter. Here it is. I'm trying to hold it steady. All right, so I'm going to continue on in just a second. All right. Okay. All right, so that is the debt validation letter. This is challenging a debt before it reaches the bureaus. Keep in mind, we haven't gotten to disputing the accounts with the bureau, like disputing your collections and stuff like that. Hold on. This is before it reaches the credit bureaus, right? This is for collections that is not on your credit report as of yet. My YouTube channel is Road to 750 LLC. Road to 750 LLC. I'm live right now on there, and you'll be able to see the presentation. Yes, the kit I'm giving you guys the leeway on do it, but the kit is $19.99. It's at road750.net, but you can go screenshot these letters and it's the same thing. But anyways, back to what I was saying. So this is a debt validation letter, right? What happens after the debt validation letter? Where do you go from here, right? So here is an example of a debt validation letter follow-up. So this letter states, to whom it may concern, I wrote you requesting a validation of this alleged debt on, and then you will put the date that you sent the debt validation letter. Oh, sorry. By the way, you should send the debt validation letter certified. That is the only letter that I stress that you should send certified, because they are on a time limit. Like the FDCPA is strict in terms of, and so you can prove that if they just send it to the credit bureaus without actually validating the debt, you can prove that you sent the debt validation letter. So this is the only letter that I would personally recommend you guys to send certified. Every other letter you can send regular mail, literally put a stamp on it and go. But these debt validation letters that you're sending to the collection agencies, I prefer you send them certified. So anyways, here's a follow-up letter. And this is an estoppel by silence letter. If you don't know what that is, just let me read it real quick. So it says, to whom it may concern, I wrote you requesting the validation of this alleged debt on the date that you sent the first letter. As of today, I have not heard, because you need to send this after it's been 60 days, because they get 60 days now. But anyways, as of today, I have not heard back from you. It has been 60 days. You have failed to supply the demanded proof of the alleged debt. I want to note that under doctrine of estoppel by silence, Engelhardt versus Gravins, I can presume that no proof of the already alleged debt, nor therefore any such debt in fact exists. This is just as a, you know what, I ain't even finna get into that TikTok video. But this is what he was putting in the Credit Karma thing, and why I explained to you that it doesn't make sense, because I don't got to get into that. Anyways, in a good faith effort to resolve this matter, you know what, I'll just show you guys the letter, because me reading it, I know it ain't like typing it. So here is a debt validation follow-up letter. Hold on, my camera is dirty. That's probably why I was blurry. All right. Here is part 2. Now, why it looks like this is because I cut off the top where it just has your name, your address, and their name and their address, because I needed to fit all of this on the screen. So screenshot this. This is a follow-up letter. You should not send this until you have not received validation of your debt or a response from the collection agencies within 60 days. Really, you should send it after 30, and I just still be like, it's been 60. But yeah. Yeah, I got it. And then I need to show it to Instagram real quick. How do you send certified? You have to actually walk in your letters to the post office, and the clerk at the front desk, let them know that you want to send it certified. Here is the follow-up letter. How do you switch this? Okay, here it is. So yes, the debt validation letters, the only letters that I say that you guys should send certified personally. Let me get him about 10 more seconds to screenshot it. Yes, certified. Sending certified is a receipt of you'll be able to have tracking number on it and all. All right, so we're gonna move on. So for those of you who are joining, this is just for everyone so that no one is confused. I want you guys to stay with me the whole time. So far, what we have done is identified the personal information or disputed the personal information, right? We've sent that personal information letter. We have identified the accounts that are hurting you, and we've identified the accounts that are helping you. Right now, we're doing the debt validation letter, which is addressing collections before they reach the credit bureaus, before they're reporting on your credit profile. This is it's called the dunning period, where you can actually challenge the debt directly with the debt collectors and force them to validate the debt before they can send it to the bureaus. If they ignore you, then you have just won yourself a lottery ticket to get an item automatically deleted, because they cannot do that, right? Okay, so I'm gonna move on. So that was the debt validation letters, the first one, and then the follow-up, right? And you send them certified. Do not send your ID or do not send your signature. Okay, so the next thing is now you can start disputing your derogatory accounts, guys. And we've already identified what derogatory accounts is. How do you know if an account is derogatory? We've already identified that, right? So now you can begin to dispute the derogatory accounts. This is my rule of thumb, my personal rule of thumb. Everyone may not agree with it. Me personally, every derogatory account should be disputed. I shouldn't say that, because I do have a few exceptions to the rule in terms of, like, if it's a repo, I really wouldn't recommend you dispute it within 2 years. If it's LMVN, they're just known to sue. Midland Funding is known to sue. So those are like my top 3 where it's like exceptions. But other than that, you need to be disputing every single derogatory account on your credit profile, right? Yes, everything that I'm saying is out of my kit, my DIY credit repair kit, which has more letters that I'm showing today, but it's $19.99 on my site, road to750.net. All right, so now we begin to dispute the derogatory accounts. Number 1, always dispute with the credit bureaus first, right? So the debt validation letter does not count because those have not even touched the credit bureaus. I'm talking about anything that is already reporting on your credit report, like any collections or any charge off or any account, any derogatory accounts that are currently reporting to the credit bureaus. Always dispute with the credit bureaus first. That's important because the FCRA states that if you ever want to take this legal, you have to show that you've went through the proper chain of command, and you have to go to the bureaus first. That's important. Again, the debt validation letter does not count because that was not reporting on your credit report. I'm talking about items that are on your credit report right now. I see a lot of times where some specialists will say dispute directly with the creditor first. That is a big no, guys. You are already placing yourself at a disadvantage. You must follow the proper chain of command. Just how we want them, just like we want to ensure that our rights are not being violated under the FCRA, and the credit bureaus are following what they're supposed to. You got to make sure that you're on point as well. If you want to be taken seriously, if you want to be able to properly dispute accounts, and if you ever have to take it to the next level, like filing a CFPB report and all of that, you will have to ensure that you're following the proper chain of command as well. Just like you want them to follow the laws, you need to abide by the laws as well. You trying to skip and all of that, it's not going to help you in the end. So don't try to skip. There's no skipping. Literally, it's none. So anyways, make sure you always dispute with the credit bureaus first, right? Never dispute online. Someone just said, what's the best site to dispute? There's no best site to dispute because you need to dispute via mail. I went over the online disputing thing. I don't want to get into that now, but never disputing online, ever. Do not dispute online, whether it's Credit Karma, whether it's directly to the site. Never dispute online. But anyways, number 2 is never choose a specific dispute reason first. Start by requesting a general reinvestigation. So this is so funny that you literally just asked what site do you dispute on, because actually I forgot I did include this in this slide. So the number 2 is never choose a specific dispute reason. If you dispute online, anything that you dispute online, they force you to choose a dispute reason, right? So this is one of the many reasons why I say never dispute online. I don't want to go through all of them, but one of the biggest reasons is because they force you to choose a dispute reason. What you don't realize is you're already placing yourself at a disadvantage with your dispute, because when they force you to choose a dispute reason, you are one, doing their job for them, because again, as I keep saying, the burden of proof is never on you as a consumer, whether this is your account, whether it wasn't. The burden of proof is not on you. And to be very clear, you are not disputing the ownership of the account. So yes, for the person who asks, if it is your account, should you still dispute it? 1000%, because just because it's your account doesn't mean that all of the information included or that's being reported is actually validated or verified information. It doesn't matter. So dispute every derogatory item. I can't make that clear enough. If the account is not yours, you shouldn't even be doing this whole dispute process. You should have been filling out an identity theft report and doing it that proper way. This is for accounts that are yours, but they are reporting as collection or charged off or whatever on your credit report. Right? We're not disputing the ownership of the account. That is, again, a very amateur way of disputing. It won't get you far. I can assure you that way will not get you far. Right? So, anyways, then rule number 3 was never dispute online. Ever. Ever. Don't ever dispute online. Never dispute online. You literally are giving up half your, well, not half, but you're giving up many of your FCRA rights that you need, and you will see come into play as you go through the dispute process. The biggest thing is just the expedited dispute resolution process, which is you saying that if you dispute by online or by phone, so if you dispute any account online or by the phone, you are saying that they do not have to do a full investigation, right? So literally you're telling them that they don't even have to go to the original or collection. They don't have to go to the original creditor, or they do not have to go to the collection agency. So you are leaving your faith in the hands of the bureaus. You are saying that whatever information that you have in your records by this date, you can use to determine if this account is verified or not, verified or not. And let me explain to you why that places you at a disadvantage. Remember when I was telling you guys at the beginning of this presentation that the way the credit bureaus verify your information is based on the information included in your personal information section. They are not even required to match your social security number for a verification. Long as something has your first initial, your last name, and your zip code, technically they can say that it's verified, right? So again, when you dispute online, you're telling them that they don't have to go to the original creditor. They don't have to request the information that I was just talking about. They can instead just match your personal information. And if the bureaus think that it belongs to you, then it's verified. But that goes against what I'm saying, because remember I said we are not disputing the ownership of the account, right? So anytime you dispute using, I can only speak for my letter. So anytime you're disputing using any of my letters and you get a reply from the credit bureau stating we verify that this account belongs to you, then you should very well be following up, because first of all, I did not say that the account didn't belong to me. That already shows me that you've already you've already miscoded my disputes. That means that you have put down that I was disputing the ownership of the account, and I was not doing that. That means that you didn't do a full investigation. You only used what was in your records to determine if the account was verified or not, right? That's the easiest way to tell if they miscoded your dispute. And that's what happens when you dispute online. Have you ever noticed when you are disputing online, they may have, like, let's say we're going to say like 10 to 15 options or dispute reasons that you can choose. At least 7 of those is going to be you disputing the ownership of the account, but they'll put it in different forms. Like they'll say it in different ways. Like they'll say I have no knowledge of this account, or then they'll say this account is not mine, or then they'll say I've never heard of this account. Like they literally will say the same thing 7 different ways, because they really want you to dispute the ownership of the account, because that is the easiest dispute when it comes to the bureaus. That's the easiest thing that they can verify. They know that they don't have to do much looking or anything when you dispute the ownership of the account. So they want to basically lead you to choosing a dispute reason that will outline that you are denying the ownership of the account, which is again why you should not dispute online. You should not, right? Always dispute via mail so that you can ensure that you are not waiving any of your FCRA rights. And then another thing that happens when you dispute online. I know I said I wasn't going to get into why I don't like online disputing, but I see that there's a lot of people who just didn't know. So we may as well why everyone is here. So another reason why you should not dispute online is because the FCRA also states that you waive the right for a reinvestigation, and then you waive the right to challenge an investigation, right? So this is very important, because if you know anything about credit repairing, and even if you do not know much about credit repairing, I'm here to tell you, as a board certified credit specialist who literally have repaired that, have went thousands of rounds with the credit bureaus, they're almost always going to auto verify something, right? They auto verify things because they know, let's say 100 consumers dispute an item. If they verify 100 of them, they know 50 people ain't gonna return and follow up, right? They know that most people think that as soon as they say an item was verified, they think that they actually disputed the account. I mean, they actually investigated the account, and there's nothing else that they can do about it. I would even argue that even more than 50 people wouldn't respond. Probably 70% of people who initialize a dispute are not going to follow up. Most people say, "Oh, this account was verified, so I guess I don't know what I'm doing," or "I need to hire a company," or "Maybe I didn't dispute it correctly," and they just give up. Right? That happens. I see it every day. They just give up. But even when you hire a professional company, you got to know that we go rounds with the bureaus as well. There's nothing we can do special that you can't. Like, we literally have to go back and forth with the credit bureaus as well. So when you dispute online, you waive that right. You can't even question their method of verification. That is disputing 101. Your first initial follow-up should always be asking them for their method of verification. 611 FCRA states that a consumer has the right to, one, dispute any item on their credit report, any information on their credit report, right? So back to online disputing, you notice that they don't let you dispute your personal information nor increase. Like if you go to Credit Karma, they don't let you dispute either of those. What you don't realize is you have a right to dispute that information too, right? They want to keep control of your personal information because, again, that's what they use to verify your debt. Is it all making sense? How is the dots connecting of how they work? So anyways, you can't even question their method of verification. And when an item reappears, they don't even have to warn you. They can literally, so you know how that whole popular thing where people were choosing in litigation on Credit Karma, and the reason why so many of those items just came back and it ruined their credit scores more. That's because when you do online dispute and you agree to the EDR, which is the expedited dispute process or the expedited dispute resolution, you are saying that they don't have to mail you and warn you before an item reaches your credit profile again. If you are disputing by mail and something gets removed and they sell it to another collection agency, or I'm sorry, yeah, and they try to come, I'm sorry, let me go back. If you are disputing by mail and you get an item deleted, that same collection agency cannot re-report on your credit profile. They can't. They have to sell it to another collection agency in order for them to re-report the same, collection agency, right? And in that process, they would already have to contact you via mail, give you that 30 days done period. And if you settle the account after it's been disputed, you don't even have to worry about them reselling it. But what I'm saying is when you dispute online, that item can just come back and they don't have to give you any warning. And you already agreed to that, right? So I say all that to say, just do not dispute online. That's not real disputing. It's not going to get you far. Whatever is not deleted, well, even when items are deleted, it's usually a soft deletion, which comes back. I talked too fast. My bad. So anyways, back to what I was saying. What is a round one reinvestigation letter? So your round one letter, like I said, needs to go directly to the bureaus. This is the easiest letter that you're ever going to send. It's literally you just using 1681I of the FCRA and using your right to dispute any account. So here, my bureau investigation letter is simple. It literally says, recently, I looked at a copy of my credit report and noticed several incorrect accounts. I feel that these accounts are adversely affecting my credit report and costing me thousands of dollars in interest every year. It is my understanding that you will investigate these items for me to ensure accuracy. And then I put, here are the items that I'm asking you to verify as accurate. On this letter, I included 4 slots. I want you to know, if you have more than 4 derogatory accounts, you literally can put them on here as well. Just, of course, just put 5, 6, 7, 8, or whatever. Put the account name and put the account number. You are only going to be given a partial account number when you pull your credit profile or your credit reports. The partial account number is fine. Just use that. But anyways, you can place. Well, I want you to place all of your derogatory accounts into dispute. All of them, whether they're yours or not. Place all of your derogatory accounts into investigation. And let me show you guys. My bad. I'll be forgetting that I gotta show you guys. If you're on YouTube, you guys can just screenshot this, or if you're in a group, you can screenshot this. Here is an example of a bureau reinvestigation letter. This is a first round letter. It's called a round one letter. Let me get them a chance to screenshot. Can y'all see that? This is also in my DIY kit as well. Every letter that I give you plus a bucket, like plus way more is in my DIY kit. All right, so let me show Instagram. All right, here is the Bureau reinvestigation letter. And all of these letters I'm giving you, you do not have to handwrite. All you have to do is literally fill in your information in the slots given. Y'all got that? All right. If you want the hard copy, just you can purchase my DIY kit. You can, and all you have to do is fill it in. All right, so that is the round one letter. This is you officially placing all of your derogatory accounts into dispute, right? Don't forget to check my battery percentage. I'm good so far. All right, so then after this round one letter, so basically, let me preface this by saying, when you send this round one letter, I do not want anyone to expect any deletions as a result of this round one letter. I'm going to already set the table. So when everything come back verified, you not saying, oh, I must have did something wrong, or I'm giving up, I'm stopping, or I'm finna pay someone $100 to do the same thing that I can do, right? I want to preface this by saying, when you send this round one letter, do not expect deletions. This letter is not designed for deletions. As you can see, if you read the letter, I literally didn't even ask the bureaus to delete anything. And that was on purpose, guys. That was on purpose. Everything is a flow. Like, just trust me. I didn't ask them to delete anything yet. I didn't ask them to delete anything yet, because all you want them to do is to investigate the account. Now, a little behind the scenes information in terms of when you dispute an account with the credit bureaus, especially your first round letter. When you ask them to open up an investigation, because you have the right to do so according to 1681I FCRA, Title 15, you have the right to ask them to investigate anything, right? So you don't want to go in really pushy saying, like, you need to verify this or you need to delete it, No. Just simply say, can you investigate these just to ensure accuracy? You will. One thing I want to know, you will notice that I never stated why I believe something was inaccurate. I never gave a dispute reason. Only thing I said was, it is my understanding that you will investigate these items for me to ensure accuracy. That is worded very carefully on purpose. I worded it like that on purpose. It is my understanding that you will investigate these items to ensure accuracy, right? Because that's what the FCRA states. A consumer can challenge anything to ensure accuracies. When you're talking to these credit bureaus, you want to talk their language, because everything is going to be sent through an automated system anyway. So talk the language of the machine, right? So again, you list your derogatory accounts, you place them into investigation, and you can almost bet that all of the accounts that you have disputed or placed it into investigation is going to come back verified. It's going to be saved on YouTube as well as Instagram. If you guys want to go over to my YouTube page right now, you'll be able to see the presentation that I'm doing. Road to 750 LLC. It's on YouTube right now, and it will be saved on YouTube. Yes, Road to 750 LLC. So, anyways, I forgot what I was at. So, yes. So this first letter, again, all pretty much expect for all of the items that you place on this first round letter to come back verified. I really want to keep saying that, because I really can't stand when you guys give up at the round one. You letting them win. Don't let them win. Use the laws as leverage in order to get deletions. This was just the first round letter. Expect them to be verified, right? So then what happens next? After you get results from the credit bureaus and they state that an item was verified, which again, expect that. If an item is deleted as a result of this first round letter, that's fine and dandy and that's great. But again, just don't go in expecting deletions. We're going to set the table properly, so no one is confused or feel like they're doing anything wrong. Expect a verified response. What isn't, because I see deletions with this sometimes as well, but that doesn't mean anything. Expect a verified response. So anyways, round two. A round two letter is after the bureaus have investigated, and I'm doing air quotes because they don't do a full investigation, but after the bureaus have investigated the account and determined that the account was verified, right? What you also can not expect is them to actually send you things other than, they usually like the first round, if they even send you anything the first round, they'll send like a bill or something. They'll send like something real light, but not, they never really validate the entire account properly. Or whatever, right? So here is an example of my second round letter. And again, you can notice this letter is really straight to the point, but I did briefly cite a law, because the first letter, you'll notice that I didn't cite any laws, and that was on purpose, because when you initialize the dispute, you want to sound like what I always call a confused consumer. Like, go in real innocent. Like, don't mention the laws. Don't try to go in sounding like a lawyer. Do not do that. Like, literally just sound like, okay, can you investigate these? And again, I want to keep reminding you guys, I never asked for a deletion up until this point. We're at round 2. I didn't even ask them to delete anything. I just asked them to investigate it, because from my understanding, that is my right for the FCRA, right? Again, we're going to use the laws as leverage to get items deleted. Everything is in this order for a reason. So here is round 2 letter, the follow-up. It's called the follow-up letter. This is in my DIY kit. All of these letters are in my DIY kit. But anyways, this is the follow-up letter. To give you a little background, like I said, we're going to assume everything came back verified. And this is you following up on a verified response from the bureaus. So on this letter, you need to make sure that you list every account that you listed on the first one that was not deleted. So if maybe, let's say you listed 10 accounts and 2 were deleted, the 8 that were not deleted, you need to put on this account. Also, what I want to warn you guys against, let's say you had another collection account appear on your report in the time where you're disputing this account, like something else just popped up. Do not think that you can include that new account on this follow-up. You absolutely must only follow up on the accounts that you disputed on the letter 1. That is so important. A lot of times I see people mess up and try to include more accounts or something like that. No, this is a follow-up to your initial investigation request. Do not add anything that wasn't on your initial letter. That is very important. That is very important. So anyway, this is a round 2 letter. It literally states, I am in disagreement with these items listed below, which still appear on my credit report, even after your investigation. I would like these items immediately re-investigated. These inaccuracies are highly injurious to my credit rating. And then you list the accounts. I like to list them in the same order. Personally, I want you to list them in the same order that you listed the first ones on. If some were deleted, of course, you just don't include the deleted items. But try to list them as close to the order that you had. Me personally, I make a habit of that, because you have to realize these items are going through a computer. They've already ordered them in their system anyway, so you want to speak that computer's language. Speak eOscar language. Period. Right? So anyways, the second paragraph says, furthermore, in accordance to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, Public Law 91-506, Title 15, Section 611, I don't even got to read all that. Please provide the names and business addresses of each individual with whom you verified the above, so that I may follow up. So again, to give you a little background, the first letter I said sound like a confused consumer. Go in not asking for a deletion, just ask them to place the item into investigation, right? They claimed that they investigated this item, right? A full investigation under the FCRA states that they need to contact the original creditor as well as the collection agency, and they need to gather all of the information included with the account, right? So, since you did my investigation, please allow me to know what businesses you contacted, what individuals you contacted, and whoever verified this item. I have a right to know that. You have a right to know that under the FCRA of who verified your item. Because what we are trying to prevent is what I'm sure the bureaus did, just send an auto verification, right? So when you respond with this, and then I'm sorry, let me finish reading it. Please forward me an updated copy of my credit report after you have completed your investigation and corrections. Your cooperation and prompt attention are greatly appreciated, right? So this is just a round 2 letter. You following up. So TransUnion, since you claim that you did this full investigation, which I'm entitled to rightfully under the FCRA, then you should have no problem with giving me the information that I requested, because you did a full investigation. You have to notate this in your system when you communicate with these creditors or original creditors or collection agencies via eOscar. You have to know this information anyway. So please forward me this information, because I would like to follow up with them, right? I would like to follow up, since they're so certain that this account is verified. I want to follow up with them, right? And again, nothing that we've said so far was outside of your rights. None of it. None of it was outside of your rights, and you're entitled to all of this information that you are requesting, right? We haven't threatened them yet. We haven't did anything except ask them to investigate it. And then when they claim that they investigated it, we only ask them to turn over whoever they investigated it with. Real simple and innocent and to the point, right? Like we haven't did anything yet, right? So this is considered a round 2 letter. I don't know how far. Let me see how far I went into this. Oh, I low-key did y'all wrong because my next slide, I cut it off. But dang, since we already in this point, I kind of want to, let me do something real quick. Hold on. So that's 2 rounds. I didn't got you through 2 rounds. Oh, yeah, y'all didn't see that letter. Hold on, Facebook. Let me show them that letter again. I thought I held it up. All right. So here is, here's a round 2 letter. Did I show y'all this? Did I? I guess not. Let me show y'all. All right. Here's the round 2 letter. Hold on, IG. The credit bureaus get 60 business days to respond now because they have new stipulations under COVID-19. Y'all got that? This is the round 2 letter. Round 2. All right, let me show Instagram. Let me see. All right, IG. Why do I always forget where the dang on thing at? All right. Here is the round 2 letter. If you have my DIY kit, it's in there. All right, y'all got it? Oh, I did not mean to do that. All right, hold on. Shit, how you? All right. Oh, this iPad be heavy as hell. Okay, so that's round 2. I've gotten you through round 2. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. The next slide was just telling you guys where to find a full kit, but I just want to. I'm gonna mention one more thing about round 3 because listen, the most deletions you're gonna get are never gonna come in round 1. It's usually gonna come in rounds 3, 4, and 5. My DIY kit is designed to get you through more than 5 rounds with the bureaus. And then after the 5 rounds, it also has letters like your pay to delete letter, your settlement letter, and all of that in case you want to, do that. And also like if you want to file a CFPB report or if you want to do a factual dispute, all of that. This live will be saved on Instagram, by the way. So anyways, so we've gotten through round 2. I mean, we've gotten through 2 rounds of the bureaus, right? And we've been real light. We ain't really do anything. But let me hold on. That's what I was doing. Give me 1 second. And then I'm gonna answer some questions. By the way, I am gonna do a Q&A. But just give me 1 second. Let me pull something up really quick. One second. Oh no, you said that's good to know because I thought you was gonna get an inaccurate report and deleted in 1 round. Never. The bureaus almost never do what we ask them to do the first time. Never. So don't. That's why I always tell people it's not that you're doing nothing wrong. It's just you haven't followed up. The problem is people don't be consistent. They don't follow up. That's why your credit repair process is not working. But when you pay a company, you're gonna pay that same company $100+ a month to send these same letters, guys. Before I placed this item in a group for sale, this was my kit that I sold to realtors. Literally, it was and I used to sell it to them $100 per kit, and they would gladly pay, because I had such a success rate with deletions. I just listed it in the group because I'm like, shoot, if I might as well sell it to my group members. But yeah, I used to sell I'm talking this same exact kit to realtors, and this is what they would use on their clients to help them, of course, gain home ownership. And I would tell them, you can't, they know, they already knew because they would put their clients on like a 6 to 9 month process basically, or sometimes it may take more, but anyways, they even know that it's not an overnight process. It's just not. Dang, this round 3 letter. Okay, I'll just show you guys this round 3 letter. Hold on. All right, let me hold on, I'm trying to get it pulled up. This is a round 3 letter. So this is a follow-up your third round follow-up. Let me zoom in a little bit in case y'all can't see it. Y'all can see that? This is in my DIY kit as well. My DIY kit is going to have more letters than this, but I done got y'all through 3 rounds for free. If you want to go more rounds, just go ahead and purchase my DIY kit, $19.99. Here's the round 3 letter that you follow up with if for the items that will still verify after your round 2. Exactly. You got to go toe-to-toe with the creditors. You got to show them that you ain't no punk. Y'all got that? And then I'm going to take some questions because I've seen a lot of great questions. I just didn't want to stop because y'all know I got to edit this after I'm done and put it back up. So bear with me. Bear with me. And this is the beginners class on disputing. I think my first webinar is going to be an advanced class for disputing. That's going to I always do this with Instagram. Here is the round 3 letter. Hold on, y'all. Let them get this real quick. I love your buy collections webinar. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Anna, but they may likely reply sooner now that they're starting to reply sooner. But yeah. Yeah, I got that. All right. All right. So I got y'all through 3 rounds. Now I want to hear no excuses about nobody knowing how to start their credit repair process, how to repair their credit, none of that. That was free. Yeah, I got 3 professional letters for free. The same letters that if you hire Lexington, I can't say that. If you hire LL or any company, this is the letters that they're going to send. You may as well send it yourself. So anyways, let me all right, so Facebook, I am about to end this like I did yesterday, and then I'm gonna come back on regular because I don't want the video that's saved on YouTube to have all of these questions and stuff. So I'm gonna end this and just go into the Facebook group or TikTok or Instagram, and we'll just do a regular Q&A. Actually, Instagram, I low-key should end y'all too because I don't be wanting these to be that long, and we'll do a